There we go. Now we're live. So how is the weather where you are, Jacob?
Well, it was very sunny earlier, but now it started raining a little bit. But the plants are very happy, so that's nice.
Oh, that's good. It's been very
Yeah.
hot here. So
Okay.
it's nice. We've been getting some rain the last 2 days. So that is very good. We're very happy about that, aren't we, Daniela? Yeah,
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean,
great
it's
summer so far.
it's summer.
Yeah, no complaints. How have things been with you both? Yeah, everything good?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, a lot of
The
moving pieces. Yeah.
I'm actually expecting a baby, which is coming very soon, end of August. So
wow,
that's really exciting.
wonderful!
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Thank you. Thank you.
bringing in the next generation of star seeds and light workers.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
Good
this
morning, everyone. Hi,
I think
Stephanie. Hi, Michelle, Gabby, Jennifer, Lori, Lynn. Good morning. Hi, Donna. Hi, Patrine. Hi, Karen.
I
So
think
nice
this
to see you all this morning.
I think this little one
We all got our morning beverages.
lottery hit the lottery with Jacob's family. To have really conscious parents is like for me the greatest wealth a soul can land in, to just have conscious parents that know themselves how to honor the needs of the body, how to honor the movements of emotion, how to have parents that know those tools and live them and practice them and model them. There's no higher lottery in like Earth School.
It's funny. I
Yeah.
used to look at my parents very differently. Now I am the same age as they were when I was judging them. And it's actually given me a whole new perspective on being this age, you know?
Yeah.
All the
Absolutely.
things I would say to my parents, oh, I would have done this differently, or I would have done that, or this or that, you know? And then now I'm like, no, I'm doing some of the same stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
The apple doesn't far fall from the tree.
True.
Mm.
Hmm.
So, what have you been up to? You've obviously got the baby coming, so that's kept you very busy. But work-wise, what have you been up to?
Yeah, so I come back 2 weeks now from a vocal sound healing level 3 retreat. So it's been the first time that I actually organized a retreat only for my vocal sound healing students. So that was really, really a lot of fun, because to work with people who you have been working with online over a year, sometimes 2 years, coming from 9 different countries, from the US, all over Europe, that was just extraordinary. I mean, usually when I do a retreat, I have to explain things and how sounding works and this and that. But that was just, they came in, they knew already, some people knew already each other. And just to start right away already with that depth of knowledge, it was really life changing for them and for me as well. So it was really, really awesome.
Wonderful. It must be
Yeah.
so nice to see your students evolving so rapidly.
It is absolutely beautiful. And now a number of them actually, they started their own little spreadsheet where they share their own websites with each other, and they're inspiring each other to bring this work of vocal sound healing to their own clients. And that's the greatest gift, that you, as a teacher, you give something, and what you long is that it makes its way into their fields, into their work, and that's really happening. So I think mission accomplished. Yeah.
Many
Jacob,
of us are very aware about the future of sound healing. Do you mind just explaining a little bit for the people who might be new to your work as to what you do?
Sure, absolutely. So I developed a modality which is kind of somatic sound work. It's the best way to maybe describe it. So I think most people know somatic work from the body, from the breath work, while we do the same thing but with the voice. So basically, in simple terms, you can just ask, what is the sound of my stomach? What is the sound of my heart? What is the sound of this pain or this trauma or that? And you breathe in, and whatever sound comes carries the very vibration, the signature energy of that what you ask. And so it's a great way to retrieve information from the body, from the unconscious, as well as start a healing process. Yeah.
Wonderful. Danielle, you were going to ask a question. Go ahead.
No, it was the same one. We're usually right on the
Oh,
same
okay.
page. Like, oh, there
Read
may
your
be
mind.
there may be friends here that really don't know about it. Jakob, can you share a little bit about some of the, for lack of a better word, like the results that people experience when they start working with sound? And what I love about, so many things I love about your work is that it's not singing. Like we have so many, a lot of people have wounds around perceptions of their voice and whether they're singers or not, or if they have a good voice or not. And your work has nothing to do with the quality of how you sound by conventional standards. Um, what are some of the results and the shifts that you see in your students and participants from
Yeah,
with it?
great questions. Two questions really there. Like you speak to the difference of sounding and singing. I would just want to explain a little bit about that. So when people think of making sound with the voice, immediately all the associations are made with singing because that's what we know, what we've come to know. Some people know about chanting, about mantra, which already goes a little bit further away from singing, but it still has a musical quality to it oftentimes. And the associations are often very traumatic for people. Like people haven't been told that they cannot sing, so they sing out of tune, that they better shut up, that they just move their lips without sound. Like I heard all the stories over and over and over again. And although I still work with singing as a modality because it brings so much joy and it's a great way to connect with one another, I found that sound making is something that is far older to humanity than singing is. So as a species, we evolved from mammals, and mammals make sound to communicate, to self-regulate, and we also make sound. I always say, when you hit your toe against the wall, you will say, ow. And when you like some food, you will say, these are sounds, these are primal, instinctive sounds. Now, when you take that principle of sound making to the next level, and you ask someone, what is the sound for your grief? What is the sound for this pain? What is the sound for anger? And you allow people to give sound to that, to give it's energy in motion. And what you get as a result is incredible. Incredible. There's people who have been having headaches for many, many years. They've gone to doctors. They don't know what's going on. They have to take heavy medication. And by means of making sound, we are able to get information that is stored and locked up in the body moving again and bring it to the conscious realm. We're able to retrieve traumas from early on in the womb, the first life of the baby. These are traumas which we call precognitive, pre-verbal. You can go and talk to a counselor for many, many years. You will never get there. Because as a 1 or a half a year old child, you don't have words yet, especially not for complex matter like my mother was doing this or that. No, this is impossible. You only have a muscle memory, a feeling sensorial memory. That is very real. Pain is very real at that age. Can you believe it that actually 30 years ago they believed that babies could not feel pain? It's like incredible, and still sometimes they will just take the baby and clean it with cold water and it's a baby, but babies feel everything and they store that information in the muscles, in their memory. So when you know this, and people have traumas in these very, very young, early childhood years, and this is one example, there's many other areas where sound work has great effects as well. They're often against the wall. They don't know how to solve these things. And then sound can really retrieve that and heal that and bring these people tremendous benefits, whether that's going from healing from diseases, whether that's going from emotional pains and troubles, or going over conditionings and mental, over agitation, self-worth issues. It's very, very vast.
Do you mind if I ask another question, Laura?
I could tell you had one on the tip of your tongue. I could see it in your
love
face.
you.
That's why I stayed quiet.
Okay, so Jakob, as you know, and many of you here listening know, there are so many amazing light workers, healers, spiritual teachers of like centuries. And there are so many different views about emotions. Some teachers will say, like, ignore your emotions, like they're traps, just don't give in to them. Others will suggest go into them so that they can be attended to. What's the philosophy through your modality and work, about the role and function of emotions?
Absolutely brilliant question, Daniela. I love the question. I think you're so right. I think emotions have oftentimes fell between, more scientific bodies of work that focused on the mind and on the body, and then spiritual practices were focuses on, resolving into oneness and really merging with a greater self. But the emotions are really in between both. So what to do with them, right? So I think it's, in my view, emotions are a tool and a function to deepen your experience with life itself, with aliveness itself. Let me explain that. When we live according to a certain flow and everything goes well, we usually land in a very soft and sweet joy. I think we all know this. It is not so necessary ecstasy. That's already a very extreme form. When we are in bliss, that can happen. But usually when we're just in the flow and it goes nicely, there's this really bubbly, lovely joy that is just there, right? I think this is our natural state. I think this is our essence. This happens when we are connecting with one another, when we are connecting with ourselves, with nature, with the divine, with Mother Earth. But then stuff happens, right? Stuff happens and pain occurs when stuff happens. This is an important mechanism. In my teaching, I always say, go to where the pain is, attend to the pain, acknowledge the pain, and then you can move on from it rather than having to always return to it unconsciously. Because any unattended pain will want resolvement and acknowledgement. And you will keep attracting similar situations that point to that pain. Hey, resolve me, attend to me, resolve me, until you attend that original pain, right? So, and that's the function of emotions, to connect you again with that essence underneath, that bubbly, joyful aliveness. Yes, emotions are actually my preferred area of how I like to work with people. And then everything else flows from there. I also like to work with contradictions on the mental level. I think it's also very important. Wherever there's a contradiction, there's also energy that is stuck, and bring people into paradox, which is life itself. Like a funny example of this is a typical case whereby we will have an issue with our parents, and there will be either judgment and fighting energy, and we will want to remove ourselves, or we will want to put ourselves above the parents and want to change them. Neither are good, because systemically you can't put yourself above the parents. People here watching, they know this. But removing yourself from the parents is also not good, because then you don't get their support, which you also need, whether it's literal support or energetic support from the ancestors. So what to do? And there's where the paradox comes in. It will always be your father and your mother, and somehow they'll always find a way to support you, however strange that will look. But that doesn't mean they are perfect. So yes, we can love someone who is not perfect. We need someone who is not perfect. I think there is a beauty in that paradox. There's a sweetness there that you need the support of someone who is far from perfect, who is far from ideal. There's a humbleness in that. So, yeah.
Beautifully said.
Maria has a really great insight, and I think there may be a question here. Sometimes I don't know where the pain comes from. So in your work, if someone new to you came to you, what would a starting point be, Jacob?
I always, yeah.
Where do you start?
We are really detectives in my line of work, conscious detectives. And I love myself a little challenge. So when people come with these unexplained problems or pain, and that they really don't know, like, I have no clue. I've went to this doctor, I've done this therapy, I've done that diet. Like, mostly people land with me with a fairly great readiness to really go deep because they've already tried so many other things, right? And so I always start with stating the obvious, like, what is your sound of that pain, that unexplainable pain? How does that pain sound? Obviously, I explain people how they can make sound for that pain, because there is a technique to it. It's not just any sound. There is a way to really express the energy of that pain. And then, I train people to listen and capture the essence of that sound. Information comes which helps what I call to make a journey to the core. A journey to the core, and it brings us to the origin of that pain. The same way as if you smell a certain perfume, you're walking on the street, a woman passes and you smell a perfume and you're back in kindergarten because your kindergarten teacher had that exact smell. This is also a very fast journey to a memory because you pick up the sense. Well, what happens if you give the exact frequency of a pain from the past? The right memory will come. That's so exciting about it. It's all about frequency, really.
Wow.
It's like a key. It opens you to the right place.
And
For somebody that has a core mother or father wound, how would those things be handled differently? Because if it's a mother wound and a father wound, usually you kind of tend to handle it differently because it was a different aspect that you were neglected of in a way.
Absolutely. Great question, Laura. So as a therapist, it's very important that you play with your own yin and yang qualities. So I can sometimes be very soft. Thank you. That is a beautiful sound. I thank you. And shall we make another sound? This is a quality, but I can also now you need to make sound. Breathe in. Come on, give it to me. Give me the sound. So you need to be very firm. So it's a matter, like when people, they have feelings that come up, and usually they do like this. They hold it in, they have tension, and they're afraid and ashamed to bring it out. And that's when you need to say, yes, it's there. Now give it sound. Now breathe in and make sound. So you really need to play as a therapist with counterbalancing that need, whether it's a masculine or feminine need. Yin yang need, father, mother, it's all spectrums, right? And I very, very often also consciously choose, like, okay, today we will work on this. We cannot mix everything. We cannot work and the father and the mother, everything at once. So then I ask my clients, what is now what you really feel you need to work on today? What do you, father or the mother? And then usually people know. They say, yeah, my father or my mother. Yeah.
What about relationships? I imagine a lot of people come to you for healing for that as well when it comes to a very traumatic experience they've had within a personal relationship. Is that similar to how you would heal something like that from a parent wound?
It's different. It's different because usually when I work with parents, I always use a constellation work together in the modality, and I oftentimes have to bring in ancestors along the line. The grandmother behind, and we work with the body of ancestors that I call, which is really important, especially when a person has a father or mother that is physically not able to support, or whether that is physically or emotionally or mentally not able to support. We need the support from the ancestors, and oftentimes there's pain that people carry. It's what I call the endless well. When I ask people to give sound to a certain pain, and it seems like they could make sound forever, I tell them, well, it's not your pain. You can make sound forever, but you can do nothing with that pain. You cannot transform or go through pain that is not yours. Shall we give it back to those who it belongs to? So that's to answer the mother-father lineage, the line. When it comes to relationships, it's very different. People are next to each other, right? It's not, it's not the same. So usually then I have the metaphor of the sandcastle. Both people have pain. And instead of being really together and saying, look, this is my pain, this is my pain, and they meet each other there, and they can be, that very rarely happens. So what happens is layers get built on the sandcastle, on the pain, and they start communicating from the layers. And one layer, and there goes a level up, goes a level up, goes a level up, until people don't know anymore what were we discussing about. Like they go so far in the sandcastle that you need to take it down and I use sound to go back. Like they come to me, I'm a partner, this, that. Okay, let's hold on. What's happening here? What is the root pain of this? And oftentimes it's something like, well, often in a past relationship, something happened. Someone went over someone's borders. There was inappropriate behavior, and there has since then been a protection that has been created. And the other partner is not allowed to go beyond that protection, and he feels then rejected. And so that's like, how can you, well, the first person needs to say, I cannot accept you totally because I have this pain from a past relationship. And the other person then can say, well, and that hurts me because I feel rejected. They meet each other. But if you don't meet, there's like, yeah, we have a problem with sex. Yeah, but you this and you're not enough here in the relationship. So we have to bring it back to the pain.
Beautifully said. And most of us are holding on to pain we didn't even know was there. So obviously, our relationships tend to suffer for that reason. We have triggers that we don't understand why they are the way they are.
Absolutely.
And our mental body, our thinking capacity is so overworked. I mean, think of it this way. It's so innocent. We don't know how to attend to our pain, to our emotions, our emotional body, because nobody taught us. Who taught you how to attend to your emotions? And many of us so innocently.
I was taught to count to 10. That was about the only thing I got. Count to 10. That's how you regulate your anger.
So it can suppress or repress again. That's what that is oftentimes doing. And until we're taught how to navigate it and allow the energy to move and be attended to and held and released, we'll think about why we are feeling what we're feeling, thinking that's I'm being with my feelings. We're back in the story of why we're feeling our feelings and telling other people why we're feeling what we're feeling to get justification, validation, to be witnessed, you name it. And until we're taught how to be with our emotions, we're left with the mental body. We're left with distraction. We're left with turning to habits, patterns, and addictions to change the way we feel because we don't know how to move it through. So then we just need to change it.
Or suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah.
As they used to say.
Yeah.
And then we get physical, then it shows up in the physical body eventually.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I think this is our motivation for doing grief work, because grief is one of the many feelings, but one of the very important feelings to help us to reconnect again with life. That's actually one of the functions of grief, to help us on that transitional journey from raw pain to reconnection with life itself. We don't have a education around that process. People don't know that process anymore. Long time ago, in the days of the tribes, there were processes and people knew this. They were very much connected with that. But nowadays, we don't know. We have certain forms, certainly. We have the funeral, and then we have some habits around that. People come with food in the week or weeks after that, and there's kind words and messages, but then that's about it, right? And then what? But that's not the end of grief. People in grief will certainly know it's not the end of grief after a couple of weeks. So we need education around that and tools that people can practice. And that's our motivation to do this type of work.
Beautiful. I'm glad you mentioned the tribes. It's funny that so many different tribes used to sing together whenever somebody would be down. I forget which African tribe it was, but there was one that the mother would actually have your own song. Like when she was pregnant with you, she would have a song come into her mind, and whenever you'd be down, she would sing it to you. And whenever you did something that was unappreciated, I should say, by the rest of the tribe. Rather than getting angry, they would circle around you and they would sing your song to you to kind of, to show you that you are still loved and supported, even though we make mistakes.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I sing for the belly, for my child, every day, and whenever I do, like, you can really feel he's really like he's moving around, and he really loves it. And whenever I play piano and I sing, he Lieselotte, my partner, tells, "Oh yeah, he's moving."
Oh, that's so sweet.
Well, I do notice that you have piano there, Jacob.
I was going to say,
Yes, sir.
Catherine did have a quick question. She says, what happens in a session? Are people toning or are you creating sound frequencies with music?
Both happen, but mostly people are sounding, toning indeed, and that toning happens in a quite particular way. It is in essence amusical, not musical. So I do make a clear distinction when we are engaging in musical singing activity or somatic vocal expression. The same way you could compare like breath work. When you do breath work, this is not an artistic activity. No one will say, the way you breathe, it is not very, very good. Like, they will not say that. They will say that. People allow themselves to say that about singing, though, because there is always the possibility when you have a song that you sing the song wrong, right? That there is just objectively is that possibility, and people can, they can say, haha, you sing the song wrong. And although in workshops with a good safety and space holding, people are just merging with the music, and that doesn't happen. With sounding, it's, no one can say your sound, that's wrong because it should be like that. Who can say your sound of your pain should be like that? No one. Even people themselves don't know when they ask, what's the sound of this pain, or what's the sound of this feeling or that? They themselves don't know how it's going to sound. I don't know how it's going to sound. And this makes it quite a modality that for many people is quite vulnerable, because we come from a time where so many things are prescribed. You have prescribed movements, you have a prescribed modality. This frequency you can use for that effect, that frequency you can use. If you listen to this YouTube binaural song, then you will get that. And there's a safety to that. And I'm not discussing the efficacy of those modalities. I think in many cases they're very effective. But, to invite the exact frequency right now, right here, which might be different 5 minutes from now, is something that truly only the voice can do, because the voice is so versatile in its, in its ability to be a little go a bit up, go a bit down, a bit louder, a bit softer. The voice has this huge range, and it can therefore give very, very precise frequencies that pre-recorded music or predefined sounds can never achieve. No instrument can achieve that. No singing bowl, no tuning fork can come even close to the rightness of your voice to give sound, to give the right frequency from an intention you might have.
Oh, it's beautifully said. Thank you.
Yeah, let alone one more thing, let alone that I think we all know that every voice is unique. You know your mother's voice, your father's voice, sister's, brother, friends, you hear them on the phone or recording, you immediately know who it is. Although this apparatus physically looks very, very similar for all humans, right? And yet that small difference with everyone. So how can a one instrument come even close to when you use that unique, it's like a fingerprint, it's like your face, your whole body. The voice is an expression of your uniqueness. So your sound is just such a gift for yourself, for the world, if you use it consciously. So if you are watching this and you have a stop on your voice, you say, oh, I should not, or I cannot, please remember that you are a gift as this body, and that includes your voice, that includes your feeling, your mind, your words, but certainly also your voice.
We, if anyone is interested in taking a dive with Jacob and I, we starting tomorrow, Wednesday, we are running a 4-session grief course online that integrates these processes along with some others to really support you in honoring grief. And think of grief in this way: grief as the natural and instinctive response to loss and change that's both wanted or unwanted. So we experience all through our lives extraordinary griefs and ordinary griefs. And when we learn how to attend to and honor the energy that accompanies transition, loss, and change, we are set with a tool for life. It is really profound work. So this is a mini course that's online that starts tomorrow, and it's actually 4 sessions in just 2 weeks, so it's an intensive.
Wonderful. I just shared the link for everybody.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. Lisa says, "Can we please have an example, Jake, of the sounding of an emotion or pain?"
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, my preferred ways, and I teach this to people, is to make the sound of the moment, which is kind of the same as asking yourself, how am I doing? And I think when we do this, how am I doing, oftentimes we are faced with this vastness, how am I really doing? How deep am I willing to look? There is the first layers of the little feelings that you just experience because of something happening in your life. And then there's the longer feelings that go with you on the journey. And then there's the deeper layers, there's the essence. So when you ask the questions, how am I doing, or how are you doing? It really depends on the space you're holding for the answer that you can give someone, right? Mostly we say, I'm fine, what about you? Now, when we ask this question and we make sound for it, and a trained ear can pick up a lot of information in that sound, because it's actually your nervous system and your body who's going to participate in the answer, not just your mind. You might think you are doing like this, I'm happy, I'm content, I'm this or that, but the body might also be tired, a little bit frustrated. And because of that sound, you can pick up these feelings. So I will demonstrate, and you can do it also if you want at home. Just know, as I will doing it with you, my sound will already influence your sound. So what we will really be doing is making the sound of how we are doing together in this moment. But let's not overcomplicate things. That's how people, resonate together. Maybe I'll just demonstrate first, and you can listen. So I always make a sound, tonal sound, because that's the best way to express the energy. And I make a prolonged sound, not a short sound, not because there is not enough space for the energy to come out. So I ask the question, how am I doing in this moment? That's how am I doing. So what did you hear in the sound? I can tell you. So first of all, there's the ground there. Oh, I'm here. I am standing on I'm sitting. I'm grounded. That's definitely there in the sound. But there's also a high note to the sound, like that's a little bit in there. The overtones. It also means I am open and connected, and inspiration is coming in. And then there's also a very fast-paced, a little bit of, it's just, I'm a little bit nervous, a little just natural nervousness from doing this podcast, being live. So that naturally comes with a healthy dose of a little bit of cortisol, of a little bit of adrenaline. The sympathetic nervous system that is naturally and healthy activated. So that's how I am doing in this moment. Do you want to give that a try? at
Sure,
home?
go ahead, Daniela.
That's a good one. You can also mute your microphones.
Yeah, go for it. So, Jakob, pretend I'm just meeting you for the first time, and this is
Okay,
my
I'll
first
take you through.
moment of take
Yeah.
me through it.
Okay, Daniela, let's start with a full deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And this is not really a sound. This is just like a breath sound of release, breathing in, out. But it's a very good first test for yourself if you already allow yourself to make that sound. If already, yeah, that's it. If already there you feel like, ooh, this is difficult for me. If you have a client like that even that is hard, then you know you have some work to do before you can make the sound of the moment. But Daniela, you made that sound absolutely beautiful. And then without further ado, what is your sound of the moment? Breathing in and make sound. Wow. Well, we have a beautiful being in front of us. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you.
And your ear is so sharp. You can hear, I could feel in that most of the sound was being present with you all in the community, and I could feel the wobble in the background of other things.
Yeah.
So it's such powerful work, friends. Just that. I mean, that is like that's just the tippy tip of the iceberg with Jakob, and with really connecting so swiftly to you. Yeah. Like you can, the voice hides nothing.
Nothing. That's what makes it so vulnerable.
The mind can justify and rationalize. Like, I mean, let's talk about the basic samskara that most beings navigate, some form of I'm flawed, there's something wrong with me, I'm not worthy, right? We can talk ourselves out of that in all kinds of directions, but the voice doesn't hide anything.
Absolutely.
And if we want our freedom from unnecessary suffering, work with the tools that are potent, efficient, and effective. And it's uncomfortable work. So go with skillful guides. Go with skillful guides, friends. Waste no time. Waste no time. The mind, we can't think our way to our healing. We cannot think our way to healing.
Yeah, and maybe one more thing around that is that, like, I made the sound of the moment, and I really cannot emphasize enough the importance between the difference of of and for. Usually when we think of voice, we always think of for. You're singing. Singing is always for, you know, you're singing a song for other people or for yourself. Sound healing is instruments that are being played for a client. But when you make sound, I always work with the sound of a certain feeling. And we're not used to that. There is something really exciting, vulnerable, but also deeply revelatory in that. Because I could make the sound for. I could say, well, this is a sound for you from my heart. No, it's a very different sound. Oh, I can have that intention, and my voice will perform, and it will be powerful and potent. But I can also say this is a sound of my grief. Very different sound, right? See how I can switch? And this is not because I am dissociated. I can go from here or there. No, it is because I'm integrated. My feelings are accessible to me. And depending on my question, for or of, my voice can change. Yeah.
I want to share one really quick anecdote of the power of this work. Some years ago, when Jakob and I were working together, when I was making the sound of the moment. And when you start to work with this process, you'll notice patterns that show up in the sound of the moment or the sound of. And I noticed over a few months when I would ask myself, what is the sound of the moment? What am I feeling right now? It wasn't changing. It was this sound of like such fatigue was coming through. And in my mind kept saying things like, half of the world is exhausted. Don't be a baby, keep going. Buck up. You rest when you die. Like things like that. And it was I got so annoyed that the sound wasn't changing, because my mind could rationalize everything, that's what showed me that I had an iron deficiency, a really severe one. And it was because of the vocal sound healing. Like, my mind kept talking me out of what my voice was trying to tell me. So, just one of many astounding features of the potency of this work. Hides nothing.
Funny, we often know, like, when your voice shakes or when your voice cracks, you're having a fluctuation with the throat chakra. You can actually quite literally hear the imbalance in your own chakra through your voice.
Yeah. Yeah, and little people know that actually before these specific muscles and the apparatus was used to express sounds, it already had a function for our digestion and for our breathing. So this third chakra and this apparatus here is not only related to expression, but also to digestion, and is therefore very innately linked and biologically linked with our whole digestive system and our breathing. So that is it's a portal. It's a great, great portal. If we know how to navigate and use it, it's profound. And I should really make notes of all the examples, because I'm so bad at that. I tend to forget. So thank you, Daniela, for giving an example of your own life. I remember like the last person I worked with, and that happened to be someone with profound headaches. So that's what I gave as an example. But I've been working with 15 years, and there's countless of examples, but I forget. Because I forget the stories. I work with the modality, I forget the stories, so apologies. But they are there.
Well, and this work really gifted Upala years, added on years as she was navigating brain cancer. It was really due to vocal sound healing that it gifted her more time. This was the modality, and much of this was birthed through that story.
Yeah. Bless her soul.
Do you mind, Jacob, sharing a little bit of your piano talents with us? Because I'm sure a few people are seeing the piano and thinking, when is he gonna do you mind? I know we're
patiently waiting.
45 minutes has already gone so quickly, so I just wanted to make sure we can squeeze in a little bit.
I love always playing, so you can never ask too much.
Thank you.
Let me tune in on the people. It's always a bit weird to I'm used to Zoom, and then you see people, and so now I don't see the chat also. So I'm just gonna tune in and allow my fingers to give you, who is watching, who's taking time to attend this live stream, so I can play for you and give you the frequency that is good for you right now. in touch today of all moments. You will come in touch with you today.
Thank you.
You're
Wow.
welcome.
I just had goosebumps all over when you were singing. That was so intense. I don't know why, but I kept seeing him like in a cathedral somewhere, like you were singing. Like I have a feeling this is not your first lifetime with such a beautiful gift and a voice.
Yeah, there are memories. There are memories. Yeah.
You're
Absolutely incredible.
overthinking it all,
Danielle and I
y'all.
are both tearing up. See,
You just need to live stream somewhere once a day globally where people could just come and just tune in. Like,
Thank you,
okay,
guys.
that's it. Just that. So everyone would like to know, where can they connect with some more music with you like that?
Well, it will certainly happen during the grief course, that is for sure. Also, we've talked a lot about sound making, but I think in all this enthusiasm around sound, we also overlooked a little bit the other half of the course, which Daniela will teach around the process of grief. So even if you haven't experienced great grief in your life, as in losing someone you love dearly, there's also little griefs like separations, job loss, children leaving the nest, and so forth and so on. Understanding those, the essence of why grief is there. Is it a mistake of God, of life, that grief exists? Or is it part of life and necessary? And if so, how can you use it? That's what Daniela will talk about. And it's just something everyone should learn. And so she will talk about that. I will take you through the somatic work with the sound. And then there will be music, just because we can, I think, just because it's awesome. Yeah, and I also have a course. If you're really interested in vocal sound healing specifically, you can look on my website. I have a course. There's also tons of music there. And finally, I'm working on a really secret project, which will be a first physical product, also with the music. So that's something that's coming up, and maybe we can talk about it another time.
would love that. Absolutely, we'll have you on anytime you want.
Thank you, Lara. You're a star. You're a star.
Oh, we just love it. Really, that was just so beautiful, and so many of us felt that down to our core. So it just goes to show there is some little things to heal in there. Whenever you can feel that emotional little ping, it's like, yeah, oh, there it is. It was
Exactly.
hiding, but it was there.
Exactly. Yes, that's well said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What was your website again? I'm sorry. I'm just looking for Daniela's comment again so I can type it in and drop it for everybody.
It's songdance.co.
Co.
Yep.
And to remember that it's co and not com, it's because the com was not for sale. That's how you can remember.
There we go. It should pop up there. There we go.
And
So-
Jacob has a beautiful self-paced training of vocal sound healing that you can move through at your own pace, so that you can learn to integrate vocal sound healing in any modality that you already do. So that's incredible for educators, teachers, middle school, high school teachers, massage therapists, coaches, counselors, psychologists, like you name it. This modality weaves itself into any Reiki, any healing modality you already practice. It brings another dimension to healing to your clients and students. Like even as a parent, if you say to your children, oftentimes, how are you feeling? They're like, I don't know. However, inviting them to, well, if you could make a sound of what you're feeling, what would that sound like right now? It's a completely game changer.
And then they'll be like, ah, and then, oh, are you angry with someone? Yes. Ah, what are you?
And
You know, you can pick it up.
it can help flush out, right? Children, we early on learn how to survive. So many of us became anger suppressors and repressors and became accommodating, fawning, pleasing. So making the sound of anger will come up, but the words might sound like, I'm okay. So it really, the sound gets underneath what the mind will override or overwrite.
Yeah. And little layers very quickly build with children. And like some injustice happened in the classroom. And then there's the feeling of injustice, the pain, and the raw grief around that injustice, actually. But there's the anger, there is other emotions that are stacked upon one another. And then even for adults who have fully developed brains, you ask, how are you feeling? Well, even they have to really make an effort to separate these different feelings and give them a place, and most people even actually can't do that. And but for children alone, it's very difficult. So sound can help really. Yeah.
Chantal's asking if the grief course would make sense on replay. I would say 1,000,000% yes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, 1.5 million even. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's bump it up. Yeah, absolutely. It's a 2 hour, each session is 2 hours. So 1:30 to 3:30 live. And you can join a Mighty Network group to receive the replays, or you could just receive the replay via email. So some people are really excited to be in a community with your classmates, and some people are like maxed out on groups and networks and things. So you get to choose.
And the replays are available for 1 year, so you have plenty of time.
So I think it will be just as fantastic on replay. Yeah.
Wonderful.
What's
Thank
your
you so
take on
much.
grief, Lara? Do we have time for one question?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I believe it's a very powerful tool for learning and through experience. I mean, I took Aiden the other day to a drive-in movie theater, and we got to see Inside Out 2. Have you seen that movie,
Was it
Inside
good?
Out,
Now I
yet?
want to see it. Is it nice?
It was adorable. It was so cute.
Okay.
Anxiety is the new emotion that really
Okay. Good one.
yes,
Yeah, good one.
yes. It is. And sadness was a big prominent figure in the first movie. And what you were explaining about grief, I kept hearing little pings from the movie that they were talking about sadness and the importance of sadness, because you get to truly understand yourself and your path, your journey in life on a much deeper level. And you can actually, there's a lot of growth that happens through sadness.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's wonderful that they're actually teaching that to children through movie. That was a brilliant little lesson for the kids. Aiden loved it especially. And it's good to talk about it. I love the fact that they actually kind of treat it like its own personality, because sometimes it does feel like another personality is coming out of you, especially when you're angry, or you know what I mean, and something just roars out of you, and you're yeah. But it's usually like that pressure cooker thing where you try to suppress those emotions, and that's when they come out and unleash themselves in ways that you wouldn't normally expect.
So true.
Yeah. I think it's a very powerful thing, and I've experienced very deep levels of grief in my life, but I think that they made me. It almost makes life sweeter once you get through those moments.
Yeah, so true. So true. You become a richer, deeper person, really. Yeah, your experience deepens. Yeah, so true.
There are some traditions that invite daily meditation on impermanence, right? Impermanence being the broad term for change. And with change, there comes loss and releasing and letting go. And the form of things, the way we like them, will not always be that way. And when we take time to really be with the resistance and the discomfort of impermanence, it is one of the daily contemplations that can so profoundly change how you treat and relate to yourself, others, and the world. When you really live as the awareness of impermanence, it transforms how you relate to yourself and others. It's very powerful. And a lot of people, if you're not taught and you don't start to ease into that as a daily awareness, it can be something that you may find yourself saying, I don't want to think about that. That's too hard to think about. My parents dying, that's too hard to think about. My spouse dying, too hard to think about. Well, prepare yourself, friends. There is death, loss, and change in life, and we're not taught how to. You can't prepare yourself to not feel pain.
No.
However, it prepares you to change how you relate to yourself and others in the living moment at play, which prepares you for change and loss.
Yeah, and it's often that coming of the change. Like I was very close, I was there when Upala passed. I was holding her hand, but in the weeks leading up to that moment, she had a difficult relationship with her parents. The parents had a difficult relationship with each other. But in those sacred weeks before her passing, so much healing occurred for everyone. So much healing. And you can do this if you have someone that you are in a fight with, a family member, or momentarily, or frustrated with someone. Just imagine for a second that that person would be dying. Well, very quickly you will feel love and like, oh my God, no, okay, what. So in the moment that you actually are faced with that change, with that impermanence, very closely, love just breaks all these barriers that we build up.
Yeah. And sometimes we just feel frozen in how to navigate dynamics that feel so vast and complex. When I think I was 21. My mother had a brain tumor, and it was sudden and swift. And we hadn't spoken in the 3 months prior to receiving that phone call. I got it from my father saying, please get in your car and come home. It's a 3-hour drive. And in that drive, the ridiculousness of our not being in communication was just so apparent. So I really love that question. When we have conflict or challenge in our relations, who and what would I be right now in the context of the situation if I got a phone call that this person was in intensive care? It will show you really quickly what you really yearn and long to express and say. And sometimes we just get paralyzed in how to navigate through that. And sometimes we need some help. We are not designed to navigate the complexities and challenges of our humanness as spiritual beings alone. So sacred guides are so essential.
Sending you lots of love, Dad.
And it had a wonderful outcome. I got to spend the year caring for her as she transitioned, and she died in our arms. And it was the most grace-filled, profound, one of the most grace-filled, profound years of my life. So much of our work professionally comes from our years of professional study and personal experience, specifically with grief, death, loss, and change.
Beautifully said. Thank you both so much for offering this, because I imagine this will help quite a few people with purging all of these latent emotions that are kind of holding them back with their healing journey. It's really needed.
About the processes in the grief course is that you can continue to replicate them long after the course is over. You're going to learn core practices that will carry you through all of the upcoming impermanence and change.
Yeah. And it's really an investment.
Beautifully said. I'm going to share the link one more time. I know we were trying to keep it to an hour, so I don't want to go too far over, but I have the link here for those of you who would like to join in. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's sharing their thoughts in the comments right now. So many of you have also been through this journey with grief. And it can be quite intense. I mean, we actually found one case where a lady's heart and her chakra had actually split in half through the loss of her husband. We don't realize how much our core being can be torn apart in ways, but this music, I truly believe, can help forge those bonds back together and mend us in ways that we didn't expect. So just want to say thank you for everything that you are doing for this community, both of you, and especially to Jacob. Your music today, really, it hit me very deeply to my core. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Lara, and thank you for everything you are doing, bringing this beautiful community together and everything you put in. That's so awesome. And thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, Michelle, yes, Michelle mentions, we didn't mention pets. You can grieve like this for a pet, a fur baby and pet. Oh my goodness, that is some of the biggest griefs we navigate, is having to release our fur babies. So yeah, thank you, Michelle, for bringing that up. And yes, Chantel, Jacob will sing to you.
She's like, I'm going to stand up just so I can hear Jacob singing. That works too.
Every session, I promise you, every session. All right.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, friends.
Have Jacob back for some more singing sometime soon, really, because this was such a treat. Thank you both again.
My pleasure.
We need a concert, just saying.
Yeah, we need a concert. I agree. Maybe we'll fly him over for October, yeah? He can just serenade all of us for our big retreat. Love it.
All
Wonderful.
right.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Make sure to check out songdance.co to get more of Jacob's music. Much love, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye. That was great.